The payment was for the prayers of the monks for the remission of sins on the part of William Conqueror, prayers which brought about the much-needed cleansing of his besmirched soul. For each and every man that William had killed in battle, the king could expect to spend a specified amount of time in purgatory, 11 years for a lord or knight, 7 years for a man-at-arms, 5 for a commoner, and 1 for a serf. By means of some obscure and complicated formula William had never understood, the monks determined a monetary amount, which somehow accorded to the number of days a monk spent on his knees praying. As William had been a very great war leader, his purgatorial obligation amounted to well over 1,000 years, and that was only counting the fatalities of the landed nobility. No one knew the number of commoners and serfs he had killed, either directly or indirectly, in his lifetime, but the number was thought to be quite high. Still, a wealthy king with dutiful heirs need not actually spend so much time in purgatory, as long as there were monks willing to ease the burden of his debt through prayer. All it took was money. Thus, the benefice of St. Swithin, necessary though it might be, was a burden the Conqueror's son had grown to loathe with a passion. That he himself would have need of this selfsame service was a fact that he could neither deny nor escape. And while he told himself that paying monks to pray souls from hell was a luxury he could ill afford, deep in his heart of hearts he knew only too well that, owing to the debauched life he led, it was also a necessity he could ill afford to neglect much longer. Even so, paying over good silver for the ongoing service of a parcel of mumbling clerics rubbed Rufus raw, especially as that silver became each year more difficult to find. His taxes already crushed the poor, and had caused at least 2 riots and a rebellion by his noblemen. Little wonder, then, that the forever needy king dreaded the annual approach of St. Swithin's Day and the parting with so much of his precious treasury. The ceremony rumbled on to its conclusion, and following an especially long-winded prayer, adjourned to a feast in honor of the worthy saint. The feast was the sole redeeming feature of the entire day. That it must be spent in the company of churchmen dampened William's enthusiasm somewhat, but did not destroy it altogether. The Red King had surrounded himself with enough of his willing courtiers and sycophants to ensure a rousing good time, no matter how many disapproving monks he fed at his table. This year the revel reached such a height of dissipation that Bishop Walkelin quailed and excused himself, claiming that he had pressing business that required his attention back at the cathedral. William, forcing himself to be gracious, wished the churchmen well, and offered to send a company of soldiers to accompany the monks back to the abbey with their money, lest they fall among thieves. Walkelin agreed to the proposal, and as he bestowed his blessing, leaned close to the king and said, "We must talk one day soon about establishing a benefice of your own, your majesty." He paused, and then, like the flick of a knife, warned, "Death comes for us all, and none of us knows the day or time. I would be remiss if I did not offer to draw up a grant for you." "We will discuss that," said William, "when the price is seen to fall, rather than forever rise." "You will have heard it said," replied Walkelin, "that where great sin abounds, great mercy must intercede. The continual observance and maintenance of that intercession is very expensive, my lord king." "So is the keeping of a bishop," answered William tartly, "and bishops have been known to lose their bishoprics." He paused, regarding the cleric over the rim of his cup. "Heaven forbid that should happen. I know I would be heartily sorry to see you go, Walkelin." "If my lord is displeased with his servant," began the bishop, "he has only to—" "Something to consider, eh?" Bishop Walkelin tried to adopt a philosophical air. "I am reminded that your father always—" "No need to speak of it any more just now," said William smoothly. "Only think about what I have said." "You may be sure," answered Walkelin. He bowed stiffly and took a slow step backward. "Your servant, my lord." The clerics departed, leaving the king and his courtiers to their revel. But the feast was ruined for William. Try as he might, he could not work himself into a festive humor because the bishop's rat of a thought had begun to gnaw at the back.